New Orleans police officer Jeffery Vappie is back on Mayor Latoya Cantrell'S security team. The move follows the conclusion of a Public Integrity Bureau investigation into misconduct.
As the indictment of Mayor Latoya Cantrell'S former bodyguard Jeffery Vappie. Thank you for joining us, everyone. I'm Sharice Gibson.
And I'm Katie Moore. Vappie was charged in an 8-count federal indictment.
A federal indictment handed up today in federal court details former officer Jeffery Vappie's alleged relationship with Mayor Cantrell.
Following Friday's blockbuster federal indictment of Mayor Cantrell'S former police bodyguard Jeffery Vappie, today we heard from Vappie's defense team on the 8 charges against him.
Y'all already know, Latoya, I was never your TD Cantrell got indicted. And right there in the paperwork, her so-called protector, Jeffery Vappie, dragged in deeper than he ever thought possible. October 2021 was the start of their little secret fling. But the feds, they've been documenting every second, every sip, every trip. And the more the story spilled, the more it looked like Jeffery wasn't gonna die on no hill for her. Nah, that boy lining up to save himself. Instead of guard duty, Vappie turned city time into date night. Trip stacking up past 70 racks, all bill straight to New Orleans. That's not protection, that's pimping and taxpayers. The indictment read like a true crime novel. Personal business, romantic getaways, all logged as official work. And deep down, Jeffery had to know when the receipts read like love letters, the feds already own you. And them WhatsApp messages, that was the nail in the future cop testimony. Encrypted, deleted, whatever. You can't scrub digital fingerprints, dummy. Every heart emoji, every slick voice note. That's the type of ammo prosecutors love. That ain't no romance archive. That's Exhibit A through Z. By July 2024, they threw the book at that boy. 7 counts of wire fraud, 1 count of lying to the FBI. That ain't just charges, that's leverage. Leverage that makes a weak man sweat. Start seeing cooperation as the only exit route. And then came that letter, summer 2022. Vappie scribbling like a teenager in detention. I'm in your space and feeling so in love with you. You got me, baby, and it feels so good. It's crazy. That boy was sounding like he was doing 20 in Angola and writing home to his baby mama. Crazy, yeah, crazy enough to be read out loud in the courtroom. While Jeffery sit there realizing every baby written in ink is another pound on the scale, tilting him toward a plea deal. Latoya handing him favors too, slid him into the Hano board.
Yeah, Mayor Cantrell appointed Jeffery Vappie to the board of the Housing Authority of New Orleans in March of last year. Our series of Outside the Office reports showed Vappie's LinkedIn page didn't have any experience in public housing and that he attended board meetings at least 3 times while being paid by the NOPD.
Added his resume while he's still supposed to be clocked in at NOPD. On paper, it looked like a promotion. In reality, more proof he was venting city time for personal perks. More proof he's the one carrying the fraud bag. And fraud bag carriers, they don't take the prison time for their bosses. They hand bosses over gift wrap like Christmas time. And what really sealed the vibe? Dude Googling how secure is WhatsApp. That's the move of a man who already feels the walls. He wasn't reaching for safety. He was checking if his future testimony was already logged in the iCloud. Spoiler alert. It was. By then, Jeffery's mask was slipping fast. He thought he could finesse with a daiquiri, pulling intern chief Michelle Woodfork into a frozen drink summit to soften the blow of her demotion.
Former interim police superintendent Michelle Woodfork will likely be called as a witness since the indictment lays out allegations that she was told she would not get the permanent superintendent job because she allegedly would not make the public integrity investigation into Jeffery Vappie go away. The indictment says shortly after sustaining the internal investigation findings against Vappie, acting at the direction of Public Official 1, believed to be Mayor Cantrell, the interim superintendent, Woodfork, reassigned Vappie back to the Executive Protection Unit. The indictment also alleges that Public Official 1 informed the interim superintendent during an in-person meeting that she would not become the permanent superintendent. It goes on to say that Jeffery Vappie attended that meeting.
But to the feds, that ain't charm, that's obstruction. And obstruction don't scare prosecutors. It just makes their offer sweeter when they slide you to cooperate a rotten prison paperwork. Cantrell has subpoenas stacking for a year, and the city council already stripped her of her quarter apartment perks. That detail hit the indictment too. Just one more breadcrumb in the trail tying her to Jeffrey's fraud parade.
New at 5, with a 5-2 vote, the city council is overriding Mayor Latoya Cantrell'S veto about the new rules stopping her usage of the Pontalba apartment.
Now the apartment will go up for rent.
Mayor's use of the apartment has been center of attention at City Hall, but now it's all come to an end. The New Orleans City Council voted 5-2 to override Mayor Latoya Cantrell'S veto on the use of the Pontalba apartment.
And there was a subpoena that touched her name, that weight sliding off Jeffrey's shoulders and onto hers. Type of imbalance that makes the sidekick flip even faster. The watchdogs pounced. MCC stepped up like a proud coach, shouting out the FBI and U.S. Attorney for sinking Jeffrey's and Cantrell's boat.
Going Nancy, obviously 14 charges right now. Honestly, you turned over federal documents to the federal government. Did you think it would be this many charges?
I thought that there would be charges. I had no idea how many, because the information that the Crime Commission turned over to the government beginning in 2022 was the beginning of what we as private citizens had uncovered. I had no idea what the FBI and their partner, the United States Attorney's Office, had developed independently. So what our standard operating procedure is, if we get information about wrongdoing, we're going to refer to the appropriate agency.
Police Justice Foundation, too, ditched to sing the other 900 cops from his name, making sure everybody saw him as the lone rotten apple.
The Federal Consent Decree Monitor says the NOPD's approach toward its investigation into Officer Jeffery Vappie reflects a cavalier attitude toward the Public Integrity Bureau's obligations and the importance of officer accountability. The Consent Decree Monitor says the NOPD's internal investigation failed to consider potential payroll fraud and a potential personal relationship between Vappie and the mayor, and the NOPD should have aggressively pursued an interview with Mayor Cantrell.
That public framing, it doesn't just humiliate, it isolates. And an isolated man under indictment, that's prime witness material. Even in his personal life, the walls tighten, divorce court lurking, wife lawyers keeping lips sealed. Why talk when the government about to do all the talking for you?
The wife of NOPD officer Jeffery Vappie filed an amended divorce petition this month, claiming in November of last year she became aware of an inappropriate relationship between Vappie and who she refers to as Mrs. LC. And a source says that Mrs. LC is New Orleans Mayor Latoya Cantrell.
Then came the photos, lunches with wine, smiles in the quarters, Jeffrey fronting like it's a security protocol. And everybody knows it's just another notch of fraud on the timeline. MCC hit him again. Was the city paying? Was he clocked in? They ain't really need answers. They just kept stacking the pressure piece by piece until the picture was complete. By June, Jeffrey ain't resigned because he wanted to ride off after 25 years. He resigned because resignation was the last move before cooperation.
Walking into federal court, flanked by his attorneys Harry Rosenberg and Sean Clark, retired NOPD officer Jeffery Vappie remains silent ahead of his arraignments.
Officer Vappie now has to face this court proceeding, which he is prepared to do.
A man don't walk away from a paycheck unless he already see his next one coming. By spring 2023, the setup was clear as day. Vappie got shuffled back into the mayor's security team like nothing happened. But everybody knew the truth. He wasn't there because he's silent. He was there because the city couldn't figure out how to hide the mess yet.
I'm Cherise Gibson.
And I'm Katie Moore. Today we learned the man at the center of a Public Integrity Bureau investigation by the NOPD is back on the mayor's executive protection detail.
Now we're talking about Officer Jeffery Vappie, who was accused of overbilling the city and collecting overtime he did not earn. Whitney Miller has been covering the most recent findings. Officer Vappie was on duty this morning alongside Mayor Cantrell, who defended his reassignment to her detail.
Every hour he stood behind Cantrell, that man was a walking liability. April 25th hit and more photos dropped. Him and Cantrell out in the open, clinking wine glasses like the world ain't watching. That was in love. That was evidence with wine and crackers. MCC pounced again, blasting questions about who paid, whether Jeffery was clocked in. Every single move turned into another receipt stacked in the federal binder. And Jeffery, that boy knew it. You could see it in them pictures. He's smiling on the outside, but that ain't no joy. That's a man staring down the fact that every sip of Merlot is a page of his cooperation agreement. The head honchos at NOPD already saw him as radioactive. Watchdogs kept circling. His name turned toxic in NOPD circles. By June, he tapped out like an MMA fighter. Resignation on June 29th. But everybody knew it was in retirement. It was a retreat. 25 years down the drain. Walking away not to chill, but to negotiate. When a man exits that fast with indictments on his back, he ain't just resigning, he repositioning. From defendant to witness, from uniform to microphone. In the city statements, peer theater. We respect the process. We withhold comment. All code for we waiting to see who gonna flip first. And between Cantrell and Vappie, nobody betting on the mayor breaking first. The love notes, the time calls, the trips, the Google searches. None of that shit gonna help them in court. But Jeffrey's name stamped on every piece. Delusional non-tax-paying people in the NO out here saying the feds don't need her if they got him. And they know he ain't got the spine to eat years behind bars. That sound good and all, but she down bad too. You heard me? That's the thing. Every single fact from October 2021 to June 2023 points to the same ending. This man ain't built for silence. He ain't taking the fall for nobody. Not for Cantrell, not for no wine lunches, not for no baby I love you notes. He gonna trade it all. Messages, receipts, pillow talk for that hot ass plea deal. The way the case set up, his only path is government witness. And the feds, they already laid the table out for him. Silverware polished, chair pulled out. All Jeffery gotta do is sit down and start talking. So here we are. Latoya Cantrell's indicted. Legacy cracked. Jeffery Vappie stripped of his badge, his job, his pride. And now he's standing at the crossroads. On one side, a prison jumpsuit with years stamped on it. On the other, a witness chair with immunity papers laid across the desk. Everybody in New Orleans know which road that boy gonna take. He ain't no martyr. He a snitch and waiting. In the city gonna watch him do it. One shaky word at a time.